Kingdom Hearts 2, one of the best games ever made, is 2 decades old now. To celebrate its 20th anniversary, my 13th video will be about 7 somewhat interesting pieces of Kingdom Hearts trivia. Well, it's more like niche observations or obscure knowledge, unexpected connections and strange theories, but still, it may be fun. I've been planning to make this kind of video for a while, so without further ado, let us begin. Starting off with a big one, in Kingdom Hearts 2, during the first visit to Beast Castle, you encounter these Possessor Heartless, which take over the various statues decorating the numerous chambers of this luxurious domain. This is quite fitting, as the Beast himself seems to be under some sort of influence, which turns out to be the doing of Organization 13's number 3, Zoldan, as he wants the Princess Heartless and Nobody. Appropriately, the final boss of the initial visit to the castle is Shadow Stalker, a Heartless that is able to possess different parts of the ballroom, giving our heroes quite a bit of trouble. The thing is, after it has been sufficiently exercised, it's not over yet, as a new Heartless breaks out of it, Dark Thorn. An exceedingly intimidating opponent that offers a very tense and unpredictable battle, full of many flashy moves. Luckily, the gang prevail and the day is saved. However, this will not be the last time we encounter this kind of Heartless. In Birth by Sleep Final Mix, at the end of the secret episode, in which Aqua is trying to find a way out of the realm of darkness, she is attacked by a somewhat familiar face stalking her from the shadows, Darkhyde. From its name and appearance, to its overwhelming power and diverse moveset, it is very similar to Dark Thorn. So, is there a connection between the two outside of the superficial? Is this just a reference or is there more to it? Well, I believe that these two are one and the same. First of all, we never see Darkhyde's defeat. After the battle ends, it simply cuts to Aqua continuing her desperate trek and stumbling upon the Castle of Dreams, leading into the ending. This is a very rare occurrence in Kingdom Hearts, so what happened to the Hunter of the Dark? I think it's fairly plausible that, while Aqua was not able to truly destroy it, she was able to imprison it with her magic. The Keyblade she wields at this point in the story, Master's Defender, which originally belonged to Master Ericus and that she inherited after his passing, has some unique properties. It has the ability to turn the Land of Departure into Castle Oblivion and vice versa, as well as the ability to create magical chains that can be used to restrain a foe. Aqua herself uses this technique against the Demon Tide at the end of 0.2, both in gameplay and the cutscene afterwards. There, the chains wrap the mass of shadows into a spherical shape. Interesting. Look, Shadow Stalker and Dark Thorn have chains. Granted, Darkhyde also has shackles around its ankles. So, the chain of events would go something like this. Aqua used the Master's Defender to turn Darkhyde into Shadow Stalker, seemingly disabling the monster. However, unbeknownst to her, it reawakens and, by the events of Kingdom Hearts 2, ends up being used by the organization, namely Zoldan, to terrorize Beast Castle. I guess they found it floating around in the realm of darkness. Eventually, Sora and company thwart it and crack the shell. You could say that Sora undoes the spell with his own Keyblade when he lands the finishing blow. The creature within must have undergone some sort of metamorphosis, presumably due to the environment, as it emerges as Dark Thorn with a more humanoid form resembling the star of the show himself, complete with rose-like thorns adorning its body. However, due to being in the realm of light this time around, or due to Aqua's magic, or both, it is clearly in a weakened state. Finally, the entity is, for all intents and purposes, defeated once and for all. I don't know about you, but I think this is a pretty solid theory, and adds even more to an already awesome and memorable Heartless design. I mean, these two stand out among the many cartoony artificial Heartless. They are pure nightmare fuel, and they make you wonder what else could be lurking in the vast and mostly uncharted realm of darkness. Since we're in Beast Castle, did you know there's a secret cutscene during the second visit? This is the chapter where Zoldan ruins the couple's party, which also leads to a pretty heated argument between the two due to the rose being stolen by said villain. Well, it's more like Beast losing his temper and lashing out against Belle, followed by him surrendering to his grim fate. A pretty emotional scene, I gotta say. Thankfully, Sora and company manage to convince him to not give up just yet, and they go after the Whirlwind Lancer. After a nobody fight in the entrance hall, Zoldan leaves with the rose. Most players will instinctively pursue him immediately, but how is Belle doing? She could be in trouble. So if you decide to go to her room first, you'll be able to view the secret cutscene where we can see that she is still hurt by the recent exchange with Beast, but Sora reassures her that everything will be alright and that they can sort things out once the rose has been retrieved. Considering that the battle with Zoldan is right there, it is puzzling as to why this scene even exists if practically no one's going to encounter it. It is, however, in character for the gang to do this before taking out the bad guy. Perhaps the developers initially made it mandatory to go to Belle's room before the finale, but figured that there was already enough backtracking during this visit and others, and thus kept the sequence but made it optional. Still, the scene, even though it's of the text box variety, does work as good build-up, especially for this part, and cements the relationship between the beauty and the beast. Out of the many Disney films that have been adapted in Kingdom Hearts, this one might just be the one with the strongest and most impactful appearance. I think we've been here long enough, so let's zoom out a bit. Here's a question for you. What is the only explorable room that appears in every mainline game, aka the main numbered trilogy? I say explorable room because there are places such as the island where the core trio hang out on in Destiny Islands, or its counterpart the Dark Margin, that can be seen in cutscenes in each entry, and because it's hard to determine what constitutes a room in reality. In the game world, however, a room is an exact term which means a specific location which is treated as separate from other locations in the code, and it has a unique name. So, any guesses? Pause the video to think it over, if you care. We should, naturally, first look at the recurring worlds. As we can see, there are only 4 explorable worlds that appear in every installment of the main trilogy: Dive to the Heart, Olympus, the 100-Acre Wood, and Radiant Garden. Let's examine each. An easy elimination is Olympus, as Kingdom Hearts 3 is missing the Colosseum portion of the world, to the dismay of many, but not me. Now, Dive to the Heart is interesting. Many wouldn't even consider it a proper world, but let's take a look at it anyway. You may think that this one qualifies, but here's the thing. In both Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3, you do visit Sora's station, the Station of Awakening, but in the first game, you only visit the stations of the Princesses of Heart: Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, Belle, and also the sort of hybrid station of the Free Princesses, Alice, Jasmine, and Kairi. So, not even Dive to the Heart. As for Radiant Garden, well, KH2 and KH3 have Merlin's house, and arguably the Garden of Assemblage, but once again, there's no such area in the original as the world is in disarray. It's Hollow Bastion after all. No, I think a different garden wins this one, although you may be able to find it in the aforementioned wizard's abode, his domicile if you will. All that's left is the 100-Acre Wood. Its appearance in the third game is unique as it is comprised of just one room, Rabbit's house, and you do visit the anxiously diligent gardener in the previous 2 games as well. So yes, Rabbit's house, of all places, is the only room that you can explore in Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, and an optional one at that. You can play through all 3 games without ever seeing it. I find this hilarious because it figures that poor Rabbit would have to deal with Sora's potential intrusions every time the kid goes on an adventure. On the topic of recurring rooms, here's a similar question. What is the only explorable room in the whole series where you're able to fight all 4 of the main enemy types? Heartless, Nobodies, Unversed, and Dream Eaters, nightmares to be specific. Once again, think it over if you wish. Well, it's definitely not Rabbit's house. In fact, the 100-Acre Wood is one of the few worlds in the series where you can't fight any of them. Luckily for the residents. The Land of Departure, while home to some combat, is technically also devoid of these hostile entities. I think it would be best to use Dream Eaters as the guiding key, as they are the least prevalent, only really appearing in one entry. There is the Nightmare Chirithy in Daybreak Town and Key, but I'm pretty sure you never fight any Nobodies or Unversed there, so moving on to Dream Drop Distance. Let's go world by world. Traverse Town does have Heartless, but no Unversed or Nobodies. La Cité de Cloché only appears in Triple D, so it's off the list. So is the Grid. Even if you included Space Paranoids, you would only add Heartless to the equation. Now, Prankster's Paradise is interesting, specifically the Monstro portion. Inside the monstrous marine mammal, along with the Dream Eaters that Riku faces, Heartless are frequently present. In Birth by Sleep Final Mix, in the Mirage Arena, you're actually able to fight the fearsome Leviathan, and at certain points in the battle, including the beginning, the whale swallows you, forcing you to take out some Unversed in order to escape. So, pretty close, but the lack of Nobody sadly sinks its streak. Country of Musketeers is, once again, a 3D exclusive. Even if you squeeze in Disney Castle / Timeless River and Disney Town, you will only get Heartless and Unversed respectively, but no White Husks. At best, you'll get a Mushroom Heartless cosplaying as an Organization 13 member. Speaking of, the world that never was most definitely has Nobodies and Heartless, but this time the Unversed are MIA. Similarly, the final boss of the game, Armored Ventus Nightmare, who is technically a Dream Eater, takes place in Dive to the Heart, which has no Unversed, although they could have easily appeared here as enemies in Birth by Sleep if it had the standard tutorial segment. At best, you can fight Vanitas here, who does spawn and command the physically manifested negative emotions, but is not one himself. You'll notice that I left out Symphony of Sorcery, for an obvious reason, but before the magical concert, here are some examples of other combinations, just for kicks. Finally, let's dive into Fantasia. Not much point in discussing the segments inside the sheet music, but what about the tower? There are Dream Eaters outside. Hold on, let's investigate this area. In Kingdom Hearts 2 you can fight Heartless and Nobodies here, and in Birth by Sleep you can fight Unversed here. Well, there you go. The area outside of Yensid's tower is the only explorable room in the whole series where you can fight every enemy type, and I imagine it will remain that way. Now, there are some caveats. You can only fight Nobodies here in the original release of Kingdom Hearts 2, as Final Mix features Mushroom 8 which prevents them from spawning in. Pretty funny, although you can still fight them inside the tower in both versions. Moreover, while it's the same room, it's technically not the same world. In DDD, it's Symphony of Sorcery, not Mysterious Tower, and in Kingdom Hearts 2, the wizard's domicile is lumped with Twilight Town, in gameplay at least. Still, this really is the exact same environment, so it works, and fits the enigmatic nature of this world. Even in Kingdom Hearts 3, according to the trailers, the Mysterious Tower was originally intended to be explorable with Heartless as enemies, so it's always this place. One thing is certain, between these monsters and Disney characters, even Disney villains, and the various Keyblade wielders and an ex-organization member that have shown up here, Yensid does not care about border control, he lets anyone in. Let's take it up a notch, from regular enemies to bosses. There's a recurring trend that happens towards the end of each game in the mainline trilogy. Sora has a duel with a major character that is supposed to be on his side, but due to special circumstances opposes him. Riku Ansem in Kingdom Hearts 1, Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 2, and Anti-Aqua in Kingdom Hearts 3 are all solo fights against such an opponent. The Riku Ansem battle occurs at the end of the first visit to Hollow Bastion, the penultimate world, and is followed by Sora's big sacrifice and transformation to a Heartless, temporarily. This leads to the creation of Roxas and Naminé. Sora faces off against the former at the start of the world never was, the last world, which leads to a spiritual farewell between him and Axel, and Sora starting to piece together who the dual wielder really is. He is his nobody, and resembles Ventus, who is in stasis and cannot be reached without the help of Aqua. She has been corrupted by the darkness, and Sora battles her at the Dark Margin, which is followed by rescuing Ven, assembling the Guardians of Light, and heading off to the final battle with the Seekers of Darkness. So yeah, a pretty sick pattern with these more personal fights for Sora. They are fairly challenging too. I also like how the reason why you fight Riku and Aqua is because they are possessed in some way, while Roxas is simply just pissed and wants to kick Kid Keyblader's ass. He's too cool to be mind controlled, truly the best character in the series with the most engaging and emotionally gripping story. Similarly, there is a solo scuffle against the main villain during the final battles at the end of these 3 games. Very nice. In short, nothing beats a good old one-on-one boss. Which is why I assume that Kingdom Hearts 4 will have a similar encounter, maybe an easier rematch against Yozora since he is probably a good guy, right? Speaking of Yozora, let's discuss the significance of the secret bosses in the series. The Kingdom Hearts games are known for having these very difficult fights, usually in the post-game, often against a new plot-relevant character. Most fans are aware of the fact that, on top of being great bosses in general, these battles also serve as foreshadowing for future installments. In Kingdom Hearts 1, Unknown, aka Xemnas, foreshadows Kingdom Hearts 2, where he is the main antagonist and final boss, and by extension Chain of Memories, where his Organization 13 is formally introduced. In Kingdom Hearts 2, Lingering Will, aka Terra's soul inhabiting his armor, hints at both Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 3. In the former, he is one of the three main characters, and we get to see how he ended up this way and why he despises Xehanort. In the latter, Lingering Will proper helps out in the final battle, and Terra is, eventually, restored, and all of this takes place in the Keyblade graveyard where you fight him. In general, this encounter promises the Keyblade War, which is explored in both games. Birth by Sleep has yet another mysterious figure, aka young Xehanort, who foreshadows Dream Drop Distance, where he is the main antagonist, constantly showing up to mess with you, and kind of a final boss as well. You can also consider Dark Hyde a secret boss, as it shows up in the secret episode and leads into 0.2. Dream Drop Distance has Julius who, well, he is a dead end. Finally, Kingdom Hearts 3 has Yozora, who provides us with a sneak peek into Kingdom Hearts 4, where he will presumably play a pretty big role as the Unreal counterpart to Sora. The secret bosses in the other games are either non-existent or less notable. So that's the story side of things, but did you know these bosses also showcase future gameplay mechanics, at least the ones in the mainline trilogy? Xemnas is able to dual-wield his ethereal blades, and in KH2, Sora is able to use drive forms, some of which allow him to dual-wield keyblades. He also displays quite a bit of athleticism and combo prowess, much like Sora in the future. Lingering Will has the power to transform his Keyblade into different weapons. While this isn't seen much in BBS, in KH3, Sora has access to various Keyblade transformations via certain form changes. Lastly, Yozora is capable of constructing all kinds of contraptions, and, looking at the trailers for KH4, there seems to be some sort of build mechanic. Another neat aspect about these three fights in particular is how the number of allies decreases with each one. For Xemnas, Sora had Donald and Goofy and Beast, for Lingering Will he only had Donald and Goofy, and for Yozora he's flying solo. So, the secret bosses are a great example of gameplay and story integration, and are a genius way of showing players what future games could be about and generating hype. I do wonder what kind of secret boss the final game the series could have, maybe some kind of Sora Prime. At last, let us wrap this up with a, fittingly, Kingdom Hearts 2 specific element. Yen Sid introduces Sora and company to the notion of unlocking these special gates in order to proceed to new worlds. These events are triggered by a particular item in a given world once its problems have been resolved. The items are as follows: the Hollow Bastion Restoration Committee membership card for Hollow Bastion, the Rose for Beast Castle, Shan Yu's Sword for the Land of Dragons, the Olympus Stone for Olympus Coliseum, the Cornerstone of Light for Disney Castle, Jack Sparrow's Compass for Port Royal, a musical bubble for Atlantica, the Treasure for Agrabah, Jack Skellington's Santa outfit for Halloween Town, Mufasa's Ghost for Pride Lands, the Blue Crystal for Twilight Town, and Sea Salt Ice Cream for this dark abyss after the 1000 Heartless battle and Organization 13 reveal. So, that is 12 gates overall. 12. Well, that's a shame. If only there was a 13th one. Well, at the end of the Remind chapter in Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora manages to find all the fragments of Kairi's heart after it was shattered and scattered by Xehanort. Once her heart is recompleted, this happens. So the 13th gate is Kairi's heart, she is one of the 7 princesses of heart, and this mechanic originated in Kingdom Hearts 2, which is 20 years old now. I wouldn't be surprised if Nomura and company added this callback specifically because it would be the 13th. As a little bonus, after this scene, Kairi returns and the final battle with Armored Xehanort starts. I think it is really cool how Sora is joined by Donald and Goofy for the showdown with Ansem, he is joined by his childhood friend Riku for the showdown with Xemnas, and as for Xehanort, there are 2 clashes, one where Sora is joined by Donald and Goofy again, and another where he is joined by his other childhood friend Kairi. Perhaps the very last battle will have Sora with Riku and Kairi as party members. And that will be that. I hope this video was at least mildly amusing. There are, of course, many other interesting aspects of this franchise that I could have gone over, but I think this will do for now. Time to sign off. Happy New Year, and happy 20th anniversary to Kingdom Hearts 2.